Go home. Find comfort in prayer and good works.
When a person knows they're being watched, the truth doesn't disappear. It relocates. It moves out of the words and into the objects. Margaery Tyrell drew a flower on a scrap of paper, and I think that drawing is the most sophisticated piece of tradecraft anyone pulls off in the entire run of Game of Thrones. Because here's what most people take from that moment. Olenna unfolds the paper, sees a rose, and we all exhale. She's faking it. She's still one of us. Good. That's true. But that reading treats the rose as information. The rose contains no information. Olenna already knew Margaery wanted her gone. Margaery had just said it to her face, in front of the Septa. The paper tells her nothing she hadn't already heard. It wasn't intelligence. It was proof of life. So if the rose isn't information, what is it? In any surveillance situation, the hard thing to smuggle out isn't a fact. Facts are easy. The hard thing is authorship. Proving the person saying the words is still the person who used to mean them. That's Margaery's real problem here. Not how to get grandmother out of the city. She solved that in a sentence. It's how to get her to leave without believing I've been broken. Because an Olenna who thinks the sparrows got into her granddaughter's head stays. And an Olenna who stays dies. Watch how the conversation is built. Olenna walks in and immediately asks for the one thing that would make all of this simple.
Does it move or talk? I want to speak with you alone.
Privacy. She asks her granddaughter for privacy. And Margaery says no.
Septa Unella has been my true friend and counsel.
At first glance, that's the line that sells the conversion. But look at what it does in the room. It isn't a statement of belief. It's a permission slip. It tells Olenna she's welcome. It tells her she doesn't need to lean in. She was offered the safe room and turned it down. Then Olenna does what Olenna does.
You're not in your sanctuary now, my dear.
Threatening to have a holy woman beaten on a balcony in front of a queen. That's the noise. And Margaery lets it run. Because every second Olenna spends being loudly, recognizably herself is a second nobody is watching Margaery's hands. She isn't converting the Septa. She's relaxing her. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the one detail in the staging that proves Margaery planned the handoff before she ever walked into that room, and why that same detail is sadder than it looks. Because she got exactly one use of a covert channel. Watch who she spends it on. Because the middle of that conversation is where the real work happens. Olenna pushes. She wants her granddaughter to run.
We marched for you.
And Margaery answers her with scripture. The gods could have punished the family and chose mercy. The mother. Prayer. Good works. Most people hear that stretch and think she's laying it on thick for the Septa. She's laying it on for the record. Olenna isn't a guard. She's a witness. Whatever she carries back becomes the official account of this meeting. And Margaery loads it with so much piety that the one physical act inside it, a granddaughter kneeling to take her grandmother's hands, reads as nothing at all. She builds noise to hide one signal in. And here's where it gets surgical. Margaery stands. She walks around the table, and she kneels in front of Olenna. Look at the geometry of that. Look at where everyone in the room is standing. When Margaery kneels, her own body sits directly between Olenna's hands and Septa Olenna's eyes. She didn't reach across the table. She didn't lean in. She repositioned herself until she became the wall. Break the line of sight. Earn a reason to touch her grandmother's hands. Make both look like devotion. Kneeling did all three at once. And you don't invent a body block mid-conversation. The kneel is the operation. Then the paper moves. And watch Margaery's face in that half second. The only moment in the scene where the mask slips. Her eyes widen. Barely. It's the involuntary flinch of someone who has just done the thing that gets them burned and is waiting to find out whether anyone saw. Then it's gone. Back to the serene queen. Back to the scripture.
The mother watches over us all.
She hands her grandmother a treason charge and covers it with a blessing. If you've watched that scene a dozen times and never noticed that she knelt in order to build a wall, that's the moment people hit like on a video like this. Not because I asked. Because a scene you thought you'd finished just reopened. House Tyrell has thorns for a reason. Go press one into that like button. Hi, I'm Nick. You're watching Cynic Cults, and we're just getting started. Because there's a bigger question underneath this scene, and almost nobody asks it. Where did Margaery learn to do that? We love Olenna. We quote Olenna. And we remember her as the family's brain, the one who plays the game while Margaery smiles at orphans. That has it backwards. Olenna is a demolition expert. Her method is contempt delivered in public. She insults, she threatens, she poisons a king at a wedding and lets the world watch a boy choke. It's brilliant. It's also loud. Margaery's method is to be underestimated on purpose, in a room, for months. Olenna wins arguments. Margaery wins institutions. And we've watched her do it twice and filed it as charm. She marries a boy king, and within weeks the small folk adore her in a city that hates everyone in that castle. She gets thrown in a cell by a fanatic, and within weeks that fanatic has called off her public punishment and started confiding in her. She isn't a nice girl who's good with people. She's a professional. So when she quotes the 7-pointed star, we're meant to hear a captive parroting her captor. What's happening is colder. Look at what she chooses to preach. Mercy, charity, the mother, good works, never judgment, never the parts of that book the High Sparrow uses to justify cutting people apart. She isn't repeating his religion back at him. She's editing it.
Go home. Find comfort in prayer and good works.
To Olenna, that's a pious granddaughter urging piety. To Olenna, it's an instruction in 3 parts. Leave. Stay busy. Stay visible doing harmless things. That's not scripture. That's an operational order in a robe. And this is where we truly start to understand Margaery Tyrell. She never lies in this scene. Go back and check. Every sentence is technically, defensibly true. She is the queen. It is her duty to serve the king. The mother does watch over us all, if you believe in the mother. She builds an entire deception out of true statements, and in a minute, I'll show you why that habit makes her family's own words darker than anyone realizes. But first, the cost. The scene shows you the price in one shot at the end. Olenna leaves, the Septa turns, and Margaery, alone for about 2 seconds, has to push the tears back down before she can turn around. She isn't triumphant. She isn't clever. She's a young woman who just understood she may have said goodbye to her grandmother forever, and wasn't permitted to say goodbye. That's the fee. She saved Olenna's life, and the price was never getting to be honest with her one last time. Olenna raised a weapon. A weapon doesn't get a goodbye. But none of that explains why the drawing had to be a flower. The Tyrell sigil is the obvious answer, and it's the wrong one. Because in Westeros, the word flower carries 2 other meanings, and once you know them, this piece of paper stops being sweet. Here's the first one. In the books, every region of Westeros gives a specific surname to children born out of wedlock. In the north, it's snow. In Dorne, sand. In the Riverlands, rivers. In the Reach, Margaery's home, all of House Tyrell's territory, the bastard surname is Flowers. So a Tyrell drawing a flower isn't only drawing the family sigil. In the Reach, flower is the word for the children the family doesn't claim. The second meaning is worse. Across the novels, Martin uses flowering as the word for a girl's first blood. It isn't subtext. It's the standard term. In A Dance with Dragons, Quentin Martell remembers a 12-year-old girl following him around, telling him she'd marry him when she flowered. That's the register. That's how casually the world uses it. So in Westeros, flower means 3 things at once: the Tyrell rose, a bastard, and a womb that has just proven it isn't carrying anything. Now put that in the room. What does the High Sparrow want from Margaery in this stretch of the season? He wants her back in Tommen's bed. He wants an heir. That's the entire leverage structure. Her freedom depends on producing a child for a king the faith controls. Her womb is state business. Everyone in that castle is waiting on it. So there's a reading, and I'll be honest, this one lives in the fan archives, not on screen, that the drawing doubles as a status report. A Tyrell woman handing another Tyrell woman a flower, in a season where the court is holding its breath over whether she's pregnant, saying, "Nothing is growing yet." I can't prove that's intended, but it doesn't need to be intended to be true of the world. Martin built a language where a noblewoman of the Reach cannot draw her own sigil without also drawing the word for bastardy and the word for blood. The Tyrells chose a house symbol that doubles as a euphemism for illegitimacy. That's not an accident of a fantasy map. That's a joke about them. And let me kill a theory while we're here. Fans have spent years zooming into that charcoal, insisting there are letters hidden in the leaves spelling out home. There aren't. Zoom far enough into any smudge, and your brain hands you an alphabet. But notice why we went hunting for letters at all. We can't quite accept that a drawing is enough. The drawing doesn't hide a word. The drawing is the word. And there's one last piece of Tyrell language that makes it land. Every great house has words. Winter is coming. Hear me roar. Fire and blood. Threats, all of them, shouted at the world. House Tyrell's words are, growing strong. It's the only motto in Westeros not addressed to an enemy. It's a process. Quiet, patient, underground, impossible to watch while it happens. Margaery, in a castle full of fanatics, sends her grandmother a picture of a thing that grows. She didn't send a sigil. She sent the house words. There's a button under this video that only fires 3 times a week for you. 3. Margaery got 1 scrap of paper past a septa and a corridor of guards, and it changed what her grandmother did with the rest of her life. If this breakdown doesn't exist anywhere else, slip one of yours through the gate here. That's how a small channel gets past the big houses. Now I've got to pause here because Margaery didn't invent this. A real queen did it first. And you need to know how her story ended. In 1586, Mary, Queen of Scots, had been a prisoner in England for nearly 2 decades. Watched constantly. Correspondence read. Margaery's situation, except it lasted 19 years. So a channel appeared. Letters written in cipher, sealed in a leather capsule, slipped into the hollow bung of a beer barrel and rolled in with the brewer's delivery. Every week beer went in. Every week treason came out. And Mary did something else that maps onto our scene almost exactly. She sewed. Under guard, for years, she embroidered emblems, plants, animals, mottos, several of which read as pointed statements about the woman holding her captive. Needlework was the one thing a noblewoman was always permitted, which made it the one place she could always speak. A queen under total surveillance, hiding meaning inside a decorative plant, because decoration is invisible. Does that sound familiar? And Margaery's version has armor Mary's never had. If Unella had snatched that paper out of Olenna's hand, what's the charge? It's a flower. It's a doodle. It's an embroidery pattern. A note saying I'm faking my faith convicts you the second it's found. A drawing of a rose can't be read as evidence by anybody outside the family. She didn't encrypt a message. She hid the fact that a message existed. Deniable, not decodable. And here's where I need you to sit down for the rest of this. Because everybody who makes this historical comparison stops at the clever part. Nobody finishes the story. Mary's secret channel worked, perfectly, for months. It worked because Elizabeth's spymaster, Walsingham, had built it. That brewer was his. The courier who set the whole thing up was his double agent. Every letter Mary posted went to a codebreaker in London, was opened, copied, decoded, resealed, and delivered, usually within a day. She wasn't smuggling messages past her jailers. Her jailers were the postal service. And on the 17th of July, 1586, believing herself invisible, she put her approval of the plot in writing. They took her head off for it. Now come back to King's Landing. We all read the rose as a win, the only moment in that stretch of the season where our side gets to be clever. But what does the drawing actually do? It gets Olenna Tyrell, the one person left alive with the resources and the will to physically drag her granddaughter out of that city, to leave. Cersei tries to stop her. Cersei, of all people, tells Olenna to stay and fight. And Olenna goes anyway, because she'd been shown the rose. Because she'd been told, in a language only family speaks, "I've got this." 3 episodes later, the Sept of Baelor goes up in green fire, and Margaery Tyrell is inside it. The last thing she ever sent her grandmother was a promise that she had it under control. That's the part that guts me. The rose wasn't a victory sign. It was a woman clearing the room of the only person who could have saved her, because she was certain she could save herself. She had one covert channel and one use of it. She didn't spend it on her own escape. She spent it getting her grandmother out of range of a threat the High Sparrow had made to her face. And she was the smartest person in that castle. That's the horror of it. She wasn't wrong about the faith. She read the High Sparrow correctly. She managed him beautifully. She was winning that fight. She was just watching the wrong enemy. And we know she was, because of what's on the paper. Think about what a woman actually draws if she believes she's finished. If Margaery had suspected she was going to die in that city, the rose is the wrong message, completely wrong. A person who expects the end sends a goodbye, a confession, a last instruction, something you can hold afterwards. She sent, "I've got this." That flower is the most confident object in the whole season. It's a woman telling her grandmother the situation is handled. Go home, I'll see you when this is finished. She wasn't saying farewell. She was rescheduling. Mary's cipher never failed. It was a beautiful cipher. It just wasn't hers. Walsingham built the road she thought she'd found. Margaery's channel was real. Hers actually worked. And it ended the same way, because a message can be perfectly delivered and still carry the wrong conclusion. The rose worked. That's what killed her. I said at the start that when people are watched, truth relocates. I want to finish there, because this scene isn't really about Westeros. Everyone who has lived under somebody else's eyes has invented a version of this. Prisoners tapping on pipes. Kids in a house with a volatile parent, learning to say something completely neutral in a very particular tone so their sibling knows to leave the room. That isn't code exactly. It's smaller and stranger. It's the discovery that when your words are taken from you, meaning doesn't die. It moves somewhere the watchers aren't looking. And notice what carries it. Never a document, never a locked box. A flower, a song, a cup left in the wrong place. Ordinary things are the safest containers because nobody guards them. Which means what Margaery proved in that room wasn't loyalty. Olenna suspected that already. She proved the two of them still shared a private world the High Sparrow couldn't enter, because he didn't grow up in it. He could take her freedom, her brother, her husband's obedience, her language, and her God. He couldn't take the fact that Olenna would recognize her handwriting on a flower. That's the most human thing in the whole show. Not the dragons. This. Two people who love each other, in a building full of people who want them dead, discovering that intimacy itself is a form of encryption. You can't break a code whose key is knowing someone. But here's what I want to know from you, and I don't think there's a clean answer. Did that rose save Olenna Tyrell's life? Or did it kill Margaery? Because it did both at once. It got her grandmother out of a city that was about to explode, and it convinced the one person capable of dragging Margaery out with her that Margaery didn't need dragging. So which was it? The move that saved the family, or the move that lost the queen? Tell me in the comments. I've changed my mind twice. This is where most channels beg you to subscribe. I'm not doing that. But if you came in thinking that rose was a sweet wink between a granddaughter and her grandmother, and you're leaving seeing counter-surveillance tradecraft with a body count, you already think the way this channel thinks. We're building an empire of people who don't just remember scenes, they decode them. And if you're still here, you're already one of us. You know what to do. The rose worked because nobody was supposed to see it, but Margaery ran the exact opposite operation too, and she ran it in the most dangerous street in King's Landing. Season 3. She stops her carriage in Flea Bottom, the same streets where a mob had recently torn a holy man apart and cornered Sansa Stark in an alley. Every other carriage in that procession keeps its curtains shut. Margaery steps out. No guards clearing the road first. She walks into an orphanage and sits with the children of men who died fighting the Crown's wars. Cersei hears about it at dinner and sees a naive girl playing with urchins. Look at where she chose to stand. Because the woman who hid one message inside a flower spent the rest of her career making absolutely certain the right people were watching her. And the reason a Tyrell had to work that hard for a throne goes back 300 years, to something about her own family that Highgarden has never stopped burying. That's the full breakdown, and it's right here. See you there. Until then, stay cult.